Infinite Emptiness, Life Without Shape. The stories by Shri Rajeev Shantaram
Thatte.
Let the bold dig their own graves. A story from 4 years ago. I had learned that the father of a dear friend, who happens to be a pathologist, had passed away. Before I could even reach his home for a final farewell, I found out that his father had already been taken to the crematorium. I, too, went to the cremation in Mulund. His father's body had been placed on a wooden platform, and somewhere between 200 to 80 people had gathered, traders, local doctors, and relatives alike. My friend had set his father's body on fire. The ghee poured over the body ignited the flames, and I watched, heart heavy, as his father was gradually consumed by the fire, merging into infinity. I stood there, silently, at a distance. Around me, hushed conversations began among the gathered crowd. Discussions about stock prices, the sale of gold, investments in the buildings of Mulund, the uproar stirred by unruly children at home, politics, flirtations with the chief minister, and even the unfortunate state of affairs in Kutch. There was even talk of doctors being cut by the pathologist. I wondered, can all those gathered by a burning body truly seem united? Should such discussions at a cremation ever be tinged with mirth? That very morning, I received a phone call. I learned that the brother of my in-law's close friend had died. I had never visited these rather reclusive people at their home. I had never been invited. Even when I saw them at any function, they would only exchange a few polite words with me or my wife, always glancing at us as though sharing some private jest with their wives. I was always curious about what they talked about, but I never dared to ask. I received their funeral notice and made my way to their home in Borivali, where 10 to 15 people had gathered. They were all fair-complexioned, hailing from well-to-do families, and the sound of weeping filled the air. I entered their home. In the hall, their diseased body lay on display. Their wife was talking to him as if he could still listen. "Oh, I had so much to do for you," she said, "but you left in a storm of anger. I used to scold you so harshly. You would take it like a slave. Whatever I prepared for food, you devoured without a word. Even when I made mistakes during quarrels with the children, you stood by me. Why did you abandon me? Now, how am I supposed to manage all this on my own?" I was stunned to see her addressing the lifeless body so casually. Did these uncles never feel shame for such shameless behavior while they were alive? Didn't they, at the very least, strive to build a loving bond with their relatives, or at least with their own wives? I went back downstairs. I had brought along some miscellaneous items, but no one was stepping forward to help. Even in the homes of those uncles I used to visit for the first time 25 years after my marriage, I found that I was the one to act. My family calls me that mad fellow, and perhaps they're right. Bamboo poles had been tied together with rope, and bundles had been hung on strings. All their friends and relatives watched me quietly as I moved about. A white sheet had been draped over the bamboo, yet there were no garlands, no flowers, no vermilion, no gulal, nothing. I asked one of the bystanders, and he looked at me as if to say, "I work for money. Why are you even asking me? Perhaps they thought I was merely a contractor who supplied materials for funerals. Preparations were complete. I was taken onto a stretcher in an ambulance. Who would be willing to lend a hand in placing a dead body on a stretcher? I called out to the deceased's sons, alerted the neighbors. 4 of them came forward and, joining hands, helped place the body onto the stretcher. One of the uncles asked, "Shall I come and help?" How ironic that the very man who had tormented us throughout his life was now, in death, being helped by his own kin. Blessed be that uncle. They carried the body down and towards the side of the platform. Once again, the body had to be placed onto a side platform. I can't lift him any higher. If we try to lift him onto the upper level, his burden will overflow our belts, the uncle's eldest son explained. Even he, who had never been willing to help with his father's body while alive, now hesitated. On one side, I helped lift the body. On the other, 2 others joined in. The body was placed onto the platform, a sheet was spread over it, and the flowers, garlands, and vermilion that had been brought were scattered about. The body was then carried into the ambulance. His son had taken out his Mercedes-Benz, and I told the ambulance driver, "Come on, let's head to the crematorium. We'll bring our vehicles along. Don't cause us any trouble on the way back." And so, the uncle's body departed alone in the ambulance for the final rites.